Welcome to the Autosport Radio 2019 show. I'm your host, Don Kay. We are live from McGillivray Speedway, 30th and High School in the beautiful town of Speedway, Indiana. And of course, if you come to Indianapolis for any reason, you got to come out to Speedway to the McGillivrays. It's at 30th and High School Road. It's a great place, good food, good service, and of course the adult beverages are ice cold. Tonight's show is presented by Honda and Honda HPD, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, NTT IndyCar Series, and SVRA. A couple of things to mention, as I do every week. If you need a dentist, there's only one to see, and that's Dr. Jack Miller and Dr. Liz Lewis at the Indy Dental Group. They have spectacular dental service. You will love it. You want to make an appointment, give them a call at 317-846-6125. And if you have computer trouble, Computer Overdrive is the place to get it there. It's fixed. It's the home of the free checkup. They'll tell you what the problem is, and they can fix it. So give them a call, tell them what your problem is, and make an appointment, 317-328-0766. And on Saturday, October the 12th, the Speedway Pet Rescue and Adoption will be having an event out on the patio from 1 until 4. If you're looking to adopt a pet, this is the place to be. So come on in. Want to mention that our good friend and world famous racer, Bill Throckmorton, had a birthday this past weekend, and he finally cleared 21. In fact, he went way past 21, actually. I talked to Eldon yesterday. Eldon is back to where he was and has been for the last 5 or 6 years. He can talk slowly. He has to think about what he's saying. Sometimes, like a lot of us, as we get in there, we forget what the heck we were talking about. But he's eating, moving around now. He's walking around in the house. He hasn't gotten outside yet, but he's got physical therapy comes in and nurses, so he's doing okay and hopes to be here next week. And we have a sad announcement that Kenny and Janine Smith are on their way to Florida. They're leaving, and I said, "Why are you leaving?" They said, "Because it's cold here." So they're heading to Florida. They got a house down there, and nobody's invited, but they are. And Jeff's glad because he's got parties scheduled. And next week, my first scheduled guest is the owner of Schmidt Peterson Racing. Mr. Sam Schmidt is to be here. So want to hear from Sam? He'll be here. And don't forget the Christmas gift and hobby show out at the Indiana State Fairgrounds. 5 days. It starts Wednesday the 6th through Sunday the 10th. I do have tickets coming, so if you have kids or grandkids you'd like to take there to see Santa Claus and see all the good stuff, I'll have them for you. Now my first guest is a gentleman that everybody's asked about. We got to hear from Conor. He's done a phenomenal job this year, and unfortunately adopted the nickname as the sit-in driver. But he's done very well, and as everybody knows, he's certainly shown that he deserves to be in a car. Please welcome Conor Daly.
Thank you. I think the term you were looking for was super sub.
I know, I couldn't think of it. Super sub. It's time for you to be in a seat. I think you've shown, as many people have noted, team owners included, that you should be there. You've shown you can do it, and you've done it the hard way. Some of them, you went in, hadn't been there, hadn't driven a car, hadn't worked with anybody, but you still put on a show. You put on a good race.
Oh, thank you. No, it was. It is very difficult for sure. I mean, it's not the way you can extract the best performance out of yourself in any way, because there's so many outside factors you have to get used to or work around or work with. So yeah, but I mean, honestly, like it's still been a lot of fun to compete because for some reason, whether or not getting in the Carlin car, I had no idea how that was going to go. Obviously, they had 2 cars not make the race, and I was like, well, this is probably going to be really difficult, but actually ended up going really well, and like really enjoyed working with that team. And they started, we started to figure each other out, and then realistically, like, I think we probably should have at least at minimum been on the podium in St. Louis, and that would have been a lot of fun. But we drove our way to the front of that race, to the lead, and that was really cool. So, to be able to do that with a young team as well that I've driven for before, I think that was probably the most meaningful, was to see how motivated the team was and the guys, and guys that I have known since I was like well, since 2011 when I drove for him in Europe. So yeah, it was a weird year, very strange by all means, by all ways to look at it. But yeah, I think it was successful for sure.
I got to think, and I know you probably can't say too much, but I got to think your phone has rung that there are teams talking with you and looking at 2020.
Well, I mean, there are no cars left. That's the only problem. Everyone would call if there were like open seats, but unless you create a seat, like like Ericsson did with Ganassi, like that was something that was created, right? But like I don't have the means to do that. But yeah, I mean, I think we have had more conversations than than normal, which has been awesome. And there's certainly some great stuff going on. But yeah, and I actually have some support. Like the Air Force is staying very loyal, and they're a great partner. And it's not enough for a full season, but it's a great sponsor, and it's something that I've never had before. So we're not in a bad spot. But I sort of wish it was like 2021 instead, when there's like 4 or 5 or 6 drivers whose contracts are sort of up, and you never know what could happen. But I think we're still in a decent position for next year.
Well, it seems to me that you're saying there's no cars, there's no seats. Now, when you win the Indy Lights, as you know, you get 3 races. Now, you got to be in a car somewhere.
For sure.
And I understand he has some money behind him to run more than 3, so that's one. I understand Renus VK has money as well. You know somebody's going to knock on his door. So there's got to be more cars, and if you're going to buy 1, why not buy 2? What's
I don't know.
Because it doesn't seem to me that it costs, if it costs $4 million to run a car, it can't cost you $4 million to run a second one.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it does. If you're creating, it costs way more than that. I mean, it's no less than 7. But
I was just picked a number.
But yeah, but I mean, it's. There will be seats, for those guys, right? Like Oliver Askew for sure is going to be there in some way, shape, or form. But then I am up against all of those guys, right? Like for any seat that may left, whether it's the McLaren seat, which I pretty much know that I'm not going to be in now, which is fine. But that, I sort of know, not many people really know what direction they're going there. Obviously, I can't say what I know, but it's, that was cool to be in that conversation. I think I talked a lot with Zach Brown, which is really cool. He's a good guy. But yeah, there still are other options out there that people aren't really thinking of. So yeah, I'm just, I'm doing my job. I'm pounding the pavement. We've got a sponsor. We've got some, good support. And yeah, there is opportunities that I just can't necessarily say anything about yet.
I know that. I figured that.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, if you would have asked me at this time last year, where I would have been, I mean, the Indy 500, that would be awesome. Yeah. But now, like, I'm pretty confident. Obviously, the Indy 500 is something that the Air Force want to be a part of. But like, I'm pretty confident I won't be in for a full season. But then again, I have no idea what could happen. I think we have a good shot at doing more races than I did this year. But yeah, just not really sure where, how, or why, and when yet. So we'll see.
Well, from what I've heard, you created a lot of interest in the Air Force with your appearances and so forth, which is what they are behind you for. And I don't know that, I think their budget they should be working on that about now.
Well, I mean, they have increased their spend every year. So, and that's their plans for next year as well, right? So that's awesome. That's the goal of having a partner like that is, seeing success out of it, getting a return on your investment. That's what we always talk about in this, in the sponsorship game. And so far that's worked. So, so really important to, I'm just proud of that, as well as thankful for, for their support. And it's, yeah, just got to figure out the best place for them, because they obviously have requirements as well on the corporate side, the team sides. I don't necessarily have an open checkbook. It's a business type, deal that has to be done.
How many appearances do you make for the Air Force?
I mean, it's no set amount. I mean, there was a certain amount, but I always do more because just why not? I mean, I'll create autograph sessions. I mean, they had their big activation units at like 5 or 6 races this year, I think. I think one of them, you know, they came to probably 4 or 5 races total, but like a couple of the other guys were at a lot of them. So they saw, you know, some races that they liked the idea of being a part of, and you know, it's a successful program for them, because our fans, I think the people that actually go to our races, we get a lot of people. Like it's not like, you know, our races aren't just dead zones. Like we have a lot of great fans and great people that go and do stuff on the weekends, like go to the fan zone, go to the activation. All that stuff helps my program for sure, because they, you know, they see that, they get the data. They, you know, if anyone goes through their, you know, simulator rides or whatever programs they've got going over there, they see that as being super beneficial. So it's really, really cool to, you know, to be, I guess, sort of leading that charge.
Have they ever said anything to you about you enlisting in the Air Force?
No. My little brother might, though.
Oh, really?
He's 17, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's thinking about going to the Air Force Academy, which is really interesting. I said, perfect.
Yeah.
Helps me do my job.
When we were racing out in Colorado Springs, I went to the Air Force Academy.
Yeah.
It's right there. And you go to the entrance, and there's this stairs. There are probably 40 of them. Well, I forgot we're 6,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
I got up to the top, and I thought I was going to die.
Well,
I couldn't get in
glad
the
you
air.
made it.
Holy Toledo. I said, oh, yeah, that's right. We're kind of above sea level. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice place. I think, you know, it's a nice school. I'm sure you'd enjoy that. You know, this series is evolving. I think the interest is growing. I think NBC has done a phenomenal job of promoting the events and letting people know where they are, and so you can get them. And I signed up for NBC Gold, which I liked. That worked out. So I think, you know, the word is getting out slowly that IndyCar is available. Plus, when you look at an IndyCar race and any other event race, and there's no comparison. I mean, IndyCar is by far the best racing in the world.
Yeah, and honestly, I totally agree. I had this conversation just yesterday with sort of 4 of my friends, and a couple of them working in the IndyCar racing world, and you know, there is certainly a positive vibe about it. I think NBC's done an awesome job. I think, you know, obviously year 2 is super important, because, you know, year 1 they want to make everyone aware that the racing is actually on NBC, but now how do you, you know, double what you got, you know, this year? So that's obviously very challenging to get TV ratings in any sort of sport or series right now. But yeah, it's really positive, and I think I've felt a lot of the same thing. There's been a lot of interest. More people that sort of not necessarily have said that many great things about IndyCar in the past are now sort of talking about it in a more positive sense. But realistically, it still is just getting it in front of people, right? More people. I talked to, you know, super diehard Formula One fans or something the other day, and they would still talk about IndyCar as if it's like not even on the map, or like they didn't know it still existed. And it's like, well, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like, what racing are you watching? Like, I don't know. But it's just about getting us there, getting us to that next level, getting us to the, you know, instead of, you know, just basically every year making improvements, because as soon as more people start talking about it, it's like, and the internet's super important for us too, like the whole NBC Gold thing, and like taking advantage of what we can do, like to get everything out of the internet that we can. That's important, but we're also still small, so we might not have the staff to do all that yet. But Jay Fry and those guys are doing an incredible job. Like, I think they're some of the hardest working people, you know, behind the scenes that really a lot of us can't see, but, you know, we as drivers see what they're doing, and I think there's a lot of great stuff, and that's you know, it's cool to be a part of that ride, hopefully, as we, you know, keep going up.
Something that's impressed me since the first day that I ran across you, even in the Road to Indy program, is you're approachable.
Thanks.
Very important in my
Because I'm not
opinion.
racing most of the time.
Well, yeah, but the interesting thing
I'm just sitting in the pit lane.
the interesting thing, I bring it up to date, was in St. Pete this year. You weren't driving. I mean, you had a ride for the 500, but you weren't driving. He was mobbed by people wanting autographs. He isn't even in a car. I've seen that a lot. Walking down pit lane, doesn't have a ride, but he gets stopped, and he'll take the time to say, of course he's not going anywhere, so he can stop and sign, pose for pictures. And I think that has helped certainly build your fan base, which is quite big, I might add. You've got a lot of fans and a lot of followers.
Well, no, I think I appreciate that. No, I mean it's a there's a lot of great people that are super supportive of us, and I really appreciate that. And it actually, I've always said that doesn't really do anything yet, because obviously the team owners clearly are not outside looking at that stuff. They don't really mind, but the Air Force do. They see that because they were very new to IndyCar, right? So they didn't know like what was going on. But then when they saw like year one, the amount of support that we got there, and like the amount of people that were coming up to us at the track, and the amount of die-cast cars we sold and all that stuff, they're like, well, this seems to make sense. So we should keep doing this. And then this year, I mean, they're just like, I mean, because every single autograph session we do, every single event we do, even, I mean, I never expect there to be anyone. I'm just like, I'm sure people are busy. They don't want to see me. I'm sure they got stuff going on. But there's always people there, and there's always people coming to say hi and support us. And like, I'm super thankful for that, because I think since they don't have a preconceived notion of like what, you know, who is successful in this sport, right? Like you could obviously, there are trophies for the podium, yes, but like there's way more than that now when you're trying to sell things or trying to market a certain deal. So I think that has really helped. They want to be loyal. They want to support me, and because they could easily, like, you know, we were with Andretti Autosport, right? There's a certain driver named Colton Herta who's also a young American driver who is probably going to need some sponsorship for next year. They could easily just be like, yeah, well, we'll just stay there and, you know, maybe support this guy, but they want to support me. So that's, you know, that's helpful. Yeah, they're awesome.
Well, that pretty much speaks to what I am saying. It's that I think sponsors need and want drivers that can speak for them intelligently, that can make an appearance for them intelligently. Have you noticed, and I've watched, I don't sign autographs, no reason to, I watch. And I've seen, you know, fans come up for an autograph and they've been on another track somewhere and the driver recognized them. They got them. Have you recognized some people that come at a different?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and they come up and what, and I think that's neat that they come in, particularly when the driver says,
well, there's a couple things that I sign. Obviously, I've been, you know, 17,000 different numbers in the last 3 years. So like every time I see a different signature, it's like, well, that's 25, that's 18, that's 41, that's 4. And so one thing I signed actually had like 4 of my numbers in a row, and I was like, I just kept putting a comma and adding a number. I didn't sign it. I just added a number. My signature was already there. It was pretty funny.
Now, I noticed when I went out to watch the test last Wednesday that you had signed in just before I did.
Yeah.
So what did you see? What do you see? What do you think of what they're doing with this aero screen?
Great question. You know, I mean, I've obviously been pretty outgoing about like, I'll drive anything, you know, do whatever. I'm not really the one worried about the safety side, because I don't really care. I just want to drive, right? Like I just want to drive, but I also understand now, like I'm getting older. I'm 27 years old. Like I see.
Oh my God.
Hey, it's in racing years. It's wild.
Has anybody got a pillow?
I know, but I understand that, and like all the drivers together had a meeting, literally just us at Gateway, and to hear sort of what the other guys think. And I mean, I never really voice my opinion because I'm not a full-time guy, right? So like I like to listen and hear and see what people think. Obviously, it's great, but I think there are so many things that. Racing is dangerous. Like it is going to be dangerous. Well, I mean, now I'm not saying we don't need it, but I don't like it. Like I'm not a huge fan of it, only because like, the nature of, just the wind in your face, like the feeling a lot of what's going on around you is super important. But also, I'm sure we thought the same thing about multiple different safety aspects that were, coming around. What the body kits looked crazy for a while, but then we all got used to them, and it's like, well, there you go, and now they're gone. But not saying the aero screen is going to do the same thing, but yeah, I think Jay's done a good job. The series have done a good job. I still personally have a lot of questions. Like I really wanted to text like Ryan and Simon about what they thought about the rain or what they thought about the heating. Like Ryan was the first guy who talked about airflow. Like You can test a lot, right? But you are not, there's no way you can test for 98 degrees in Iowa, 100% humidity at night with 22 other cars around. And like, I mean, what happens? You know, like there's so many unknown factors in racing, which makes it a crazy sport that like, you just can't be prepared for everything. And like, I understand the reasons for it, but you know, I'm not entirely sold on it yet, so we'll see. I mean, I will obviously drive it 100%, but yeah, I would like to see like another year of development before it's fully mandated. But hey, you know, it is what it is.
Well, I was told that, of course, the drivers would say it's good and they like it because that's what they're told to say.
Well, they're all the old drivers too, so.
Yeah, but I don't buy that. I think.
They never ask our opinions. I don't know if you knew that. I have not seen a quote from me, Spencer, or any the younger side of guys. Because we don't care. We're just like, yeah, we want to drive. Let's go.
But I think when you think about it, when the new engine comes out in 2020, I think it's 2022.
Yeah,
it's going to be another 100 plus horsepower, which means it'll be going a lot faster. So this thing could help out. And I talked to Owen Snyder when they were testing, and I said, I understand there's a rule that the driver capable has to be able to get out of the car in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
So it used to be in the rule book, but I think it's going to come back because you got to be able to get out of it. Now, if you're hurt, that's the next question. How do you get, you know, is there room? And I looked in there can be, it can be done.
Yeah.
So, you know, to me,
I'm a big claustrophobia guy. Like I nearly had a conniption when like they were putting a headrest. We had a special headrest this year at Indy for qualifying where your head couldn't move at all. And so like I got in there and I got stuck and I couldn't move my head. And I was like, I don't like this at all. And I was like, get this thing off of my car right now. And then they were like, yeah, but it's going to go faster. And I was like, well, all right, put it back in. So it was one of those things that like, I hated it. I was like, oh my gosh, why is my face not able to move? But in the end, as a driver, you just got to get in and do it. So it's one of those things that I think you're just going to be like, all right, well, I hope, you know, I hope this goes well.
Well, you know, I think one thing that impresses me about Jay Fry, and I've talked to him, he said he's on the road all the time. He won't be able to come here until December, but he said, I'll be there.
Well, he doesn't even ever return my texts either, so don't worry, or calls.
I hear from him.
However, he did help me out a lot just last week, so I give Jay a lot of credit. I struggle to communicate with him sometimes because he's obviously got more important things to do, but he did do something really, really good for me last week, so thank you, Jay Fry.
And the thing that impresses me, having been a team manager and a team owner, and having complaints and nobody listening, I think he's brought with him that you got trouble, come and see me. He'll listen to you. He will talk to you, and he listens to what you say.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I mean, sometimes people, you know, you can get people in leadership type positions and just be like, yeah, whatever, talk to someone else. But Jay's super open with that, which is really nice.
And he listens because he's fully aware that if you drivers go on strike, he doesn't have anything. He's dead in the water.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well, I know that, but the point being, you know, that you got to listen, and you can't satisfy everybody, but you can make overall good. And I think that's impressed the heck out of me.
For sure.
And I think Mark Miles, when he came in, people said, well, he doesn't know anything about racing. No, he just took tennis series and made it the biggest thing in the world. So he does know, and he, by the way, did play tennis in college. He has the ability to find the right people and put them in the right place, and things click along. And
yeah, there's good people in good leadership positions. I think Mark Miles really does want to be the guy who, you know, brings our sport sort of back to the forefront of motor racing, which would be really cool. And you know, it's a process. Like I always said, even when I was like a little bit younger, like I thought it would take, you know, minimum 10 years to even get some sort of traction going since the split, or like getting back together, which was like, you know, 08, 09 or whatever. And now it is 10 years. So like, and we've got traction again. So I was like, oh, well, that was kind of an interesting timeline, but like, it just takes time, right? And I think obviously we go into another decade, right, next year, and so that's really cool. A lot of cool new things for us, safety, TV stuff, technology, everything. The new engine's going to be very exciting, I think. So there's a lot of good things that are coming to sort of continue to help us climb that ladder a little bit.
And I think one of them that everybody will glom onto is when the new engine comes with it more speed.
I hope so, as long as it sounds good. I don't want it to sound bad.
Yeah. It's amazing when they did change the sound of the car, how much people complain about, so they went back again.
Because I go on the internet every day and I see classic Formula One videos or even classic Champ Car, IndyCar videos where the engines sound amazing, and I'm just like, "Woo! I think we need that again." But I just, for some reason, no one's really copped onto that. So even in Formula One, I think Formula One, I mean, they sound horrible, but it is what it is. Yeah, well, they still have $500 million to spend.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Budgets they have.
Which is, yeah, I mean, it's you got to think of it both ways, right? Maybe we wouldn't have any engines if all of us just had to build V12s in our garage because there was no support from Honda or Chevy. You know what I mean? Like we have engines manufacturer support right now, so we gotta listen to them as well. It's a team effort, this whole sport, I guess.
Well, I'm going to ask a silly question, but let's see if how many people are awake and are listening. How many would like to see this young man in a car full-time next year?
Thank you. No, I mean, I will say I am very excited about, one potential opportunity that we do have. I think it would make a lot of sense. It would work really well for me, and I think everyone, in the core IndyCar fan base would really appreciate it. So we'll see. Hopefully we can, it's still early. I mean, heck, it's the beginning of October. So, I mean, everyone's still on vacation, I think. Yeah, but I'm not. It is. All these other team owners, Sam was gone. Everyone's gone.
Well, I think you can do for
he's back to work
kids.
Next week.
Who is that?
Sam.
Oh.
He's coming back to work, starting right here.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what it was. I think you can do for young kids for the Air Force what Hinch has done for me. I watched his commercials for Honda. I bought 5 of them.
Good for you.
Because of him.
You bought 5 Hondas.
I'm going to sue him and make him see if he'll pay for them.
There you go.
But I think
he's a big Chevy guy now.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Don't know. Be interesting. Well, the important thing is to find out what you're doing, where you're going. Your fan base is growing, I think, and I watch a lot, and how you interact with the fans, I think, is huge for you and huge for a sponsor, in this case, the Air Force, and that's what they want. They want you to interact and be good with people because they want kids to sign on the dotted line.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, anytime you see, any U.S. Air Force activation at any track that anyone goes to, go there. They don't care who you are or how many people you are or how old you are. Just go there, check it out, see what's going on. That helps me. It helps them. So, and obviously it's a pretty incredible group of people to be able to represent for as well. I've met some incredibly inspirational humans, just awesome people. So it's a great group of people to want to win for. You know what I mean? That's the thing is I want to be able to go out in that, in whatever crazy livery we might end up with and put it on the podium, put it at the, put it in victory circle, because that's, because you're representing a very high level group of people.
Where's the nearest recruiting office? We can all go over there.
Just Google it.
Okay.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I thank you for your time. I know you're on the road and moving around a lot, but I appreciate you taking the time to come here.
Absolutely.
And when things fall into place, I will be going.
I'm sure.
Come back.
Well, we'll see. Hopefully you're sooner rather than later. Then we have plenty of time to talk.
All right.
Who knows? Thank you, guys.
Keep an eye on him. Conor Daly. He's going to be there. My next 2 guests are ready to come up. Right, Jim?
Oh, Jim? Oh,
Jim,
wow.
yeah. If you want to know what it's like to be in an Indy car, why the guys and gals love doing it, you got to try the Indy Racing Experience, a 2-seater ride. You can go to IndyRacingExperience.com. schedule what they're doing, or look at what they're doing, their schedule is for next year, because they're shut down now. But find a ride, and when you sign up for a ride in the promo box, put SJ1, you get a 50% discount. Or you can call Shonda at 317-243-7171. Sign up for a seat and take a ride. You'll love it. We just had a young lady who was a race fan take a ride yesterday, actually, and she got out of the car excited.
I'm gonna get
Said,
right
wow,
next to you,
this is great. So take a ride. You'll enjoy it. And don't forget, if you are a vintage racing fan, like the old cars and the old drivers, they got both at SVRA. You can go to svra.com and sign up and get their Speed Tour magazine. Great magazine. You will really enjoy it. It's got a lot of great stories about the cars, the drivers, areas where they race, good places to go and see. So take care of it. And if you were looking for a vintage car and you want to get one restored, why not call the Grant King shop, because they can handle it. Bodies, engines, they can do it all. Their number is 317-820-3595. And, the last event upcoming for the SVRA will be October 24th to the 27th. And it's at the it's a 2019 Savannah Speed Classic in Hutchinson Island, Georgia. So if you're anywhere in the area, by all means, stop in. My next two guests are back here by popular request. The gentleman sitting on the end, of course, most everybody knows. He has been inducted into the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America, and he's probably saved more injury and more deaths to more race car drivers and now young football players than anybody. I needn't say more. Please welcome Mr. Bill Simpson. And sitting next to him is a real race nut. However, if you ever end up looking at a judge with him alongside you, you're in trouble. That's why you got him.
Yay.
And he is one of the best.
He is the best.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, Mr. Simpson, I should listen. But he's a race nut. Yeah.
We've been in front of a lot of judges.
Good. This is how this is going to start.
I haven't said it. He did. I didn't say a word. And he's a race nut. He goes to all the IndyCar races he can go to. He collects cars, and he was a partner with Tony George when they had the 16th Street Speedway. So the man can do two things. Loves racing and is a defense attorney. Please welcome Mr. Jim Voyles. You don't have to. It's on.
Okay.
All right, Jim.
Turn it off.
Sir,
Yes.
which was your most thing? Why did you go into becoming an attorney?
Oh, that's pretty simple.
Okay.
My uncle, George Ober, who was my law partner, George was a lawyer in Indianapolis. He was the judge in Speedway, and he was also one of the founders of USAC in 1955. He and Mr. Holman and 5 other people, after the AAA left automobile racing, they went to Detroit and formed the United States Auto Club that started on Meridian Street in 1956. And so he was my inspiration to kind of become involved in motorsports as a young man.
Did you ever drive?
I did, unfortunately. No, I had a lot of fun. I was a Sports Car Club of America, another lawyer and I, Rick Cammon. We had a Formula V team, and we drove the Midwest and took my driver's test at Raceway Park.
And you collect cars now.
I do. I just got my wife a brand new car for her. She's been coveting Aston Martins for a long time, and we were at Pebble Beach for the concourse, which was this year the marquee car was the Aston Martin, and I was involved in a pretty successful case, and afterwards I was at another lawyer's office. He had this internet picture of an Aston Martin, and I said, well, I'm interested in that car. So I bought it and gave it to Joan about 3 weeks ago. So
Has she been able to hit the ground yet?
she was my passenger in the car. It's her car, it's not my car, but we went out last night. It's a DB9, beautiful black convertible, and she loves it.
Are you gonna have to put an extension on your garage, or do you have to get?
No, here's what I did. I now have 20 cars on site at my house, four of which had to have another home. So I see my friend, Mr. Simpson, and I call him and I said, I need one of those buildings out at your facility in Brownsburg. So we worked out a deal. He's get the next 2 cases free, and I get storage.
See, that's how it works out.
All right, Bill.
Yes, sir.
Let's get right down to the nitty gritty. What kind of trouble are you gonna get into to get his free services? Have you got that mapped out yet?
You know, the reason that Jim hangs out with me is because I have a lot of problems at the races.
I see. Is it fair to say that your, for lack of a better word, empire started out when you had a wreck and you figured you gotta figure out a way to prevent that from happening to you?
Well, that's a long time ago, you
Oh, I know it was. You've been doing this for about 60 years.
70 years, yeah.
All right,
I told that to Voyles tonight. I said, you know, you realize.
I didn't know
you
that
and I
you're
are
that
both-
old.
We're old
Holy
guys.
cow.
We're old guys.
Hell, you're only,
We're old guys.
no, you're not. You're not gonna turn 80 until March. You got a long way to
It
go.
don't matter.
I know.
I'm gonna quit hanging around with you.
I told Voyles, I says, hey, you know what I want to do a Super V team again. That was a pretty good deal, right?
Yeah.
For all them young kids.
Yeah.
He goes, well, I know where you can get some money, not me.
Yeah, I can suggest a lot of people would like to lose their money to Bill.
You know,
That's what it is. It's just money. Who cares?
this Saturday,
When you run out, you just buy some more.
there you go. Now, this Saturday, you had what's called of your property's community day, and you had a car show.
Yes, sir.
You had
Yes, sir.
for a first shot, you had a good turnout of cars, and there was some beauties there.
Well, yeah, well, you know what? People are, I don't know what to say. You know, I love everybody. I like to
Not
help
true.
everybody. I like,
Another lie.
see how he's lying. We did something with a thing for people that do rock steady sell for the people Parkinson disease, and I did that for them, and it was a pretty good response. Yeah,
It was.
you realize, of course, that I don't speak very well because of all this thing that's gone on,
You're
and of
speaking.
course that doesn't happen very often with him, you know.
That's why they call us mouthpieces. We have to.
I knew
speak
he
for
was
you.
going to say that. I knew he was going to say that. You know that.
You know, you go to as many of the IndyCar races as you can go to every year.
I try. I
Yeah,
do.
You try
Yes.
to get there as often as you can. As now a very, very, very interested observer, how do you like the direction it's going?
Oh, I love it. I really do. It's very. I listen to Conor, and he's right. There's a lot of energy.
He's not right.
Well, he's not right about
Stop.
everything,
Don't
but
say
he's
that.
right about
Stop.
that.
Quit being PC.
He's energetic about IndyCar, and I am too.
Did you get the? I didn't see you out there to see when they tested that new Arrow.
No, I was out of town, but I watched it.
Doing another one of those $1 million deals, right?
I was spending money.
my
I was spending money. No, I did see it. I talked to Chip about it, and I saw Scott's pictures of the car, and I think it looks fine to me. I mean, I'm not normally a guy that likes to see the cockpit encroach, but for safety and what I saw, I'm fine with that.
You know, the thing about it, when it's sitting, you go, I don't like it. But when it's on the track, you really don't notice it. And I think, as I said to Conor, I think it's a good idea because when the new engine comes out, more horsepower and more speed. You got to prepare for it. And I think they are. Now, there'll be some adjustments made for air. Uh-oh. Is he whispering sweet nothing?
Yeah, I'm talking to him. Yes. I said, what the hell you got to say about that?
I already said it.
Oh, okay.
So, Bill, what's your opinion? Do you
About
like
that,
about the car and the
I
new?
think it's fine. There's nothing wrong with it.
I don't disagree with you.
I mean, what the hell are you talking about? Remember the old days when we rented Ascot?
Yeah,
There was no roll bars,
yeah.
and then there was more roll balls.
More roll bars.
Roll bar. There you go.
Yes.
See, I was right on it, man. I told you. I told him, be careful what you say to me because I don't talk really good, you know. But I do remember roll bars.
I think they invented the word Miranda for you. Don't talk.
No. See, Voyles he's got a card. Let me have your card. Let me have your card, please. You guys, you got to hear this, man. I want to see this card.
You've seen it.
Yeah, but I want these people to see this. Here's the deal. Here's what it says to. This is my best friend. Okay.
Lucky you.
Stop. Mail.
Let me read it.
Yeah, you read it. Have him read it.
Stop emailing, stop Facebooking, stop tweeting, stop texting, stop talking. That's your card.
There you go. That's Voyles, man. He's my good buddy, right? That's the deal. Don't invite me to one of your goddamn frog breaks.
Hey, Jim, that's why you're old.
And I am old. So what? So what?
Jim.
He is too.
As an attorney, a defense attorney, have you gotten a client that you knew was guilty and defended him? And
The gentleman on my left might qualify for those comments.
Nice friend, right?
Oh, well,
Of course.
You have, and you knew they were guilty, whether they told you or not.
The other deal is, man, that he rides in my airplane, of course, and we'll see
Sim
how he
Air, we
thinks
call
about that. Simpson Air.
Does he have a stewardess and serve cocktails?
No, we don't travel with any kind of deluxe stuff. We just go to the races, enjoy ourselves, come home.
Okay.
Pretty much that's what we do too.
I'm sure it is.
As a Mac.
I'm sure.
Full.
So when you have a client that you feel is guilty, maybe they haven't told you, but you feel they are, does that make it more difficult to defend, or do you defend everybody?
No, I think what you need to understand about defense lawyers in general, not just me, but the legal profession, is that we all take an oath to do our job, and our job is to make sure that the state can prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And so all we do is defend the what we call the misunderstood and the oppressed. But that's the state's job. That's the state's job in order to prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt to either a court or a jury. So, I'm not there to be a moralist or to judge them. I just want to make sure the state does their job, period.
Quit clapping, please.
Bill, what in your mind is the biggest thing you've contributed to safety? You've done helmets and fire
Give up
suits.
driving.
Yeah, quit driving racing cars. How's that?
Yeah, I remember when you pulled in and you said, "What in the hell are you doing here?" And you said, "I was thinking on the backstretch at the speedway, I was thinking of a phone call I needed to make, and I wasn't concentrating."
Had to be to my lawyer, of course.
Oh, I didn't know that. And you decided you didn't want to kill yourself or somebody else. You got out of the car and that's it. I won't do it again.
That was the fact, and that is what I did. Yes, and it was good that I did that.
Yeah.
Did a lot of stuff afterwards.
I've heard the rumor that you did. Yeah,
You did that.
yeah. What did you design for NASA? I know you designed something which ended up
I
getting
did
you and Pete.
the umbilical cord for the astronauts that walked out and put stuff together.
And you met Pete Conrad as a result of
Yeah,
that.
he's my pal. He was my pal before he got killed in his motorcycle. Yes,
And he then led you to Nomex,
yes, he did.
and that took on another with your fire
Yes,
suits and all that.
that built us into this thing about making fire suits, this thing called fire suits.
Yes.
There's some people out that were up there that think, well, racing cars just didn't happen. Everybody that flew upside down, dying and all that, they didn't drive. They didn't have a problem. Stop talking now, sir. Help. Just help me. My nurse is over there, and she's trying to help me.
Well, she's,
Talking. She says, stop talking, Simpson, stop.
they're over there having coffee. They're not
I
paying
don't really
attention.
care, man. I'm over there doing tequila. My neurologist said, just have some tequila. and
Does that
it's
give
good.
you a sense of who he sees as a doctor?
No, and that's from the Mayo Clinic, you know.
Well, if the Mayo says it.
I'm telling you for a Mac, and then he says he didn't really tell you that, and I said, the hell yeah, he did. Listen to this, and he goes, okay, I get it. You just have 2 shots. Okay, I'll have 2
At a time.
at a time. Yes. What else you want me to say?
Well, I don't know. You like beer.
No, I don't like beer. Tequila.
Okay. Now you love with tequila. When you look back at what you have done during your 60-plus years in safety, and
That's a long time.
it is.
Yes, sir.
I can't even time it on my watch.
Please don't.
But I would been in your shop on a number of times, and you showed me how you test various helmets and so forth. Who designed all that? Was that your coming up?
Me, and the, there's, I've learned different what? I've learned different languages
Okay.
in testing my stuff. And my secretary says, what did you just say? It don't matter. Whatever. He's been there and watched it.
No,
man.
what you have really is a genius sitting left of me. Doesn't sound like it,
That's bullshit. It's bullshit.
but he really is. He's a safety genius. He has been for a long time. He's contributed so much to automobile racing and also the football helmet that he has designed and developed that my grandsons use. So he's really a genius about things that we all care about, but he does. And he finishes and he completes the project. So.
Okay, $1 for each person that walks out of the door.
You know, it has to make you feel good, though, to know that the effort you put into developing, and you paid all of it yourself, found materials you wanted, what you were looking for, you got it, you put it together, you figured out how to test it to make sure it was the best available. You save lives, and you reduce, with your football helmet, reduce concussions dramatically.
Thank you, I appreciate that. You have to understand something, that my friend here has been with me through this whole project.
But I'm only
And he's-
55. How could that be? How could that possibly happen? No, we formed
it did happen. Don't stop.
No, we really formed a bond a long time ago. The first one was when the Earnhardt case came about, and that was a very devastating case to Bill. And a lawyer in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and I took on NASCAR with that project, and we saw it through, and we were able to at least exonerate Bill from any
I want to say one other thing. Him, Jim, and my pal up in Wyoming, they kicked Scorich, what's his name? The guy, the black dude from, not the black guy, but the guy from the guy was.
We're getting in trouble here.
Oh,
Mr.
I'm
Mayor.
sorry. But anyway, there was,
We were successful in
that
the
was-
litigation. Let me leave it at that.
But he kicked their ass. He kicked their ass. I mean, kicked their ass. I even came out of the judge's place and had a piece of silver tape on myself, and he's going, what happened? I said, oh, I was in a fight the other night. And he goes, what? And he's the one that won all that. He won it.
Well, that's what you have.
Born. So yeah, he gets this all. He gets that. My man. It's my man.
And I know I talked to you off and on during that time, and you and Dale were good friends. You used to go hunting
we
together.
We were very good friends. Yes.
And went hunting and all kinds.
Yeah.
Hung around with him. So
Yeah,
I've lost him, and the way that it happened had to have been terrible.
Pretty awful. But I'm going to tell you one thing. These guys, they kicked NASCAR's ass from one end to the other. And they did. And you know what? You know, we're talking about guys that are New York City guys with millions of dollars. And here's Voyles.
We're just simple country lawyers.
That's what he said. He says they're country lawyers. I said, bullshit. What'd you just do to them?
Have you got a lot of cases lined up? Because NASCAR might be have their attorneys call you after this.
No, I'm just taking care of simple matters.
You help. You work with the Pacers and the Colts when they have a problem, if I'm not mistaken.
I have done that in the past. I have.
Yes,
Yeah.
and when
All of them.
And when some guy climbed up in the grandstands in Detroit, I think you were hailed.
I was involved in. I've been involved in lots of, as I said, misunderstandings.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to laugh. One day I see Bill out at the Speedway, and he's got cuts and stuff on him. And a couple of guys said, what in the world happened? He said, I fell down the stairs. I said, oh, really? Well, I come to find out that isn't exactly what happened. There was a misunderstanding there, too. But one thing about Bill, there's only one person that's right, and it's him. And you know what? Over the years, he is right. What he's done, what he's developed, what he's done to save lives, save injuries, he was right. Like it or not, he was the winner. You know, it's kind of interesting.
No, he was my main man. He's been my main man through this whole project, you know. I come here and...
Does that mean I get a break on the rent?
Well, see, and here's the deal. He brings all these exotic cars over, and he goes, I got to have a deal, you know. And I said, sure, have a deal. What do you want? What do you want? Well, I want this. I went, well, take it. Do it. Be my pal.
I bet it wasn't that easy.
It was real.
It was real easy.
Yeah,
It was real easy.
I'm sure.
Yeah. I got a deal for the rest of my life.
And
The
now,
question is, which one of us is going to go first?
yeah. Yeah, but the interesting thing about Bill, you think, well, you know, he's crying about how he's getting old, and I'm older than he is by almost a year. He's got a project he's building in Mooresville. He's looking at buying another property and doing that. He's building a house here in town. You're busy all the time.
Well, what else are you going to do?
I don't know, chase him around, maybe.
No, I don't want to chase him around. I can't. I don't want to chase him around, and I don't like chasing him around. Are you ready for that?
Uh-oh, I guess.
He says, what's the next race? I don't know. I'll call the pilots and find out where we're the hell going.
There you go. That's a good idea. Well, you know, seriously, though, you have to sit back, if you do, and think, I've had a pretty good life. I have accomplished what I set out to do, and when I got done, I had the best.
Who was that you were talking about?
You.
Oh, I thought you were talking about you. No, I'm not done yet, man.
Oh, I know that.
I got a long ways to go.
I know. You're not a guy that's going to sit back and say, well,
my house, my house is right over there on
14th.
Auburn Street.
Yeah.
Go over there and look at where we're at.
I did.
You did?
It was a flat piece of dirt when I was there.
Well,
the other
there's
day.
it's more than that right
Probably
today.
now, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little, there's holes and shit in the ground.
That means that means that you're close by. I can call you and get you to come in again. I don't have to chase you. I'll find you.
Get back on this program, would you please?
Well, nobody has to ask me a question first, you know.
If you could have and would have been good enough, would you have liked to move up from SCCA? Would you have liked at one time to get into an IndyCar?
Would I have liked to?
Yeah.
Oh, you know, in my dreams. No, my dad made real sure I used to hang around the Springfield Speedway when I was in high school. And I was enamored with that, of course. But he told me, he said, don't think about that. You're going to law school. And so every time I turned around to think about cars and went out with my pals, he said, you're going to law school. So I think for me, it was a very much better decision for me to do that.
Now, how did you and Tony come up with the idea with 16th Street Speedway?
That's my wife. Everything goes back to her.
Don't say that, please.
No, that's the truth.
Don't say that.
That's the truth.
Don't.
Her father, John, had run midgets in Soldier Field in Chicago.
With Andy Granatelli.
Yeah, and so when we learned that the Victory Field was going to be moved downtown and this was going to be an empty facility, she said, that'd be a great place for a midget race. And I thought, are you shitting me? But I said, okay. So I looked at that prospect, and then I went and talked to Tony and Dave Cassidy, and we went to the city. And interestingly enough, Doug Bowles at that time was the person in charge for Mayor Goldsmith about that facility, that he was in charge of that kind of stuff for the city. So we made a proposal, and they accepted it. And so I had a fabulous time working out there. I was the guy in the pits. It's kind of a funny story about that. That's how I met Tony Stewart and Billy Boat and a lot of the guys that became friends. But yeah, I kind of was the stooge in the pits. So Tony got in a little trouble over in Danville, Illinois, and Kerry Agajanian called me, and he said, if I need a lawyer for Tony in Danville, would you go represent him? And I said, well, sure. So he tells Tony that, and Tony said, why would I want a guy that works in the pits in 16th Street Speedway to handle my case? He said, well, he has a day job.
That's my man, Voyles.
He does something during the day different than that, so.
And that was a fairly successful operation. Dave Cassidy did a nice job when he came in there.
He did, yeah. I mean, when Tony started then Formula One, it was a decision made. We leased the facility from the city, and so the walls that we had put up there were all kind of the prefabbed walls, and he needed them back for the track, and so we decided not to renew the lease with the city, and so it became history.
Well, it was fun racing.
It was fabulous. Yeah, cost me a lot of money, but I had a great time.
And you can thank Joan for that.
I can thank Joan for that. Yeah, I'll thank her when she's in her new car.
Yeah. And she's driving, or you?
Oh no, she drives.
Oh, I know that.
He got the keys to the garage.
Yeah,
he did. Trust me.
Is there a car that? It's too bad you didn't come out to Bill's, community.
Well, I'm in deep trouble over that because I called him.
Definitely is in trouble.
I called him and I said, I'll be out there, but we had some guests that came in from out of town that I had to deal with, a good friend, and so I couldn't make it, but I would have been there. I absolutely would have been.
He
there.
had some fabulous cars.
I heard he did. I heard he did. He told me it was a very big success.
Yeah, it was. And one of the cars, I think, won something was at Willie's. That red Willie, that was a sharp car.
The black Willie, or the yellow one. Yeah, it went. It was a big deal.
Oh.
It was a big deal.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it.
So am I. 'Cause
You're not fake. You're not.
Yes,
you're
I am.
Really.
I'm deeply, deeply sorry that I missed it.
do you show any of your cars?
Do I? Yeah, I've shown some of them. We occasionally have a car show in Zionsville. That cost me I showed my 58 right-hand drive Bentley, and while I was up at the Bentley store, I bought another one. So, yeah, I do show them.
So no wonder you got to have him as a client.
Yeah, that's right, just so I could use his storage.
You get it, right?
Yeah.
It's a reciprocal agreement here.
Yeah. You get in trouble, I defend you, and you pay me. That
Yeah, that's
works
right.
out well, I buy a
You
car.
let me use your space for my cars.
Are you looking to build anything more around here, or have you?
Are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you, other than a house.
Yeah, I'm not a builder. I defend builders. Thank you.
I have a couple of projects. Yes.
Locally? in the state?
One that's not local and one's in North Carolina.
Yeah. Did you get that one on the pond? Are you working on that one?
That's what we're working on, yeah. I got to take him down there tomorrow, actually.
I thought you had to go to court. Don't you have another job?
That's BS. He
Yes, I
always
do to
tells me
court.
that. He goes, I got to go to court.
I do go there
Stop it.
periodically.
That's nice. How many people lawyers are in your office?
7.
And is it your?
No, it's a group effort. We're all individual lawyers, but we practice under a group concept. Yeah.
But if I called and I said, I'm in trouble, I want to talk to Mr. Voyles, they'd say, no, we got Bruce is available.
If you called to ask for me, I'd take your case.
That's because he likes you. It's because he likes you.
No.
If he calls me, man, he can get a call.
No,
I heard,
I'm still working full time.
I heard that Bill said he got a call about 6 in the morning, and it was you. And Bill said, what in the world are you calling me at this hour for? He said, well, I went one of your favorite places right now, Hendricks County Jail, I think it was.
That's him calling me.
That was not me. That's BS. That's not.
No, Bill's
exact-
never called me about that.
Yes, I have too.
I could, these are privileged conversations that he and I have had over the jail.
Yeah, well,
It's okay though, you know.
okay. Everything works out.
It all works out. Yes, it does.
Well, you know, again, you have to sit back, Bill,
Yes, sir.
and say to yourself,
What?
what I worked 60 years to accomplish, somebody recognized because you're in the Motorsports Hall of Fame of America. That doesn't
Well,
happen
when
to
I'm in
just
the
anybody.
jail, they don't care.
Well, I know they don't care there, but I bet, I
Oh,
wouldn't be
okay,
surprised,
yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's some guard that walked around looking, hey, Bill, can I have your autograph?
No, I don't get that. No, that don't happen.
Okay.
You got to go to my place out Pittsburgh where I got all them camels. Everybody's laughing about my camels, but
You got 'em, yeah.
but I got real camels, and they just talk. That's what they do. They're like him. They're really
It's been a
good
while since
guys.
I've been compared to a camel.
What other
Horse's ass, but never a camel.
what kind of animals do you have out there? I know
Well, I got 2 big camels. How's that enough?
Well, no, I
That's
don't
enough.
know, is it? You
Yeah.
got more than
He's
that.
got-
Oh yeah, I
He's
got a lot
got a
of stuff
menagerie.
down there. I have a zoo. That's because I sit back and watch all those animals do all their crazy stuff that they do, and I think that's Voyles over there.
Are you sure he's your friend? I'm not so sure about that.
Questionable sometimes.
I love him. I love him.
Well, you know,
I would take a bullet for him. How's that?
well, if
Well,
you
that's
stay-
awful nice.
Well, I mean that. You know, I realize.
Yeah, sometimes in
you
this
guys are
community that's
laughing because
important.
I'm kind of, you know, I got this stroke thing going off, but I'm trying my hardest to get over it. But I'm telling you right now, this man right here, if somebody ever did something, I would take a bullet for him. Okay, end of story.
Very nice. Very nice.
Let me make a suggestion. If you have occasion to go see somebody on the east side, take him with you, because that's what might happen. From what I hear on the news. Oh, well. You know, it's interesting, the people that get hooked on cars and motorsports, and there's something about the sport, and as I've said 75,000 times probably, a football team, you know, they have 11 guys, and if one of them misses something and the quarterback gets knocked down, he gets up, tricks the dirt off him, and off he goes. But if you're on a race team and somebody misses something, you can have a driver in trouble, serious trouble.
Correct.
This man has helped save a lot of them, but the point still is, it's a huge team sport, I think, completely. Everybody has to do their job. And
I agree 100%.
And I agree that what you have brought and what you have done is remarkable, and the fact that you're probably not done yet is even more interesting.
Are you talking to me again?
Yes, I am.
No, yeah, I got a lot of stuff left, you know. I don't like little Joe here on my shoulder.
All right, get rid
We're
of it.
done with all that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm working at it, man.
I know you are.
Working at it.
I know.
Yeah, he's,
know what?
and really, to be serious, Bill's done a remarkable job in the last year. I was one of the first calls that they said to me that Bill's had a stroke. And he was in the Brownsburg Regional Hospital, and so I immediately went out there, and we transferred him through my daughter's help. She works at IU Methodist, and she said he needs to be in the stroke center, so that's where we took him immediately. And he's gone above and beyond the work that somebody who's a stroke victim needs to do in order to recover. It's a massive medical situation, and Bill has everything that they've asked him to do, he's done, and he's done very, very well. Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Thank you. You're my friend. Thank you.
But he's not done yet. Once he gets full speed, look out.
Yeah,
Here it
that's,
comes.
well, he's pretty full speed now.
He's getting there.
Yeah. A couple of tequilas, you could see him on the gas.
I think I see a glass over there. It might be half empty or half full. I don't know, but I bet it gets filled up again.
It's enough, pal. It's enough.
Well, I think the fact that people asked you to come back and you did, I thank you for that. I am beyond myself to say I know Mr. Voyles. If I call, he has taken my calls against his better judgment, but he did. And Bill, I call him and he answers the phone, and if he's busy, you call back, and by golly, he does. I'm happy to say I know both of you. I'm pleased that you both came back again.
We're happy to be here. At least I am.
He's really happy to be here.
Why? Where else would you be?
I don't know.
I'd probably be home waxing Joan's car.
No, yeah. There you go, my man, my main man.
Well,
Okay, we're done.
okay. Well, I guess we're done.
Thank
Bill
you,
says
sir.
we're done.
Thanks, man. Thanks, big boy.
Jim Voyles, Bill Simpson. If and when he gets going and rocking and rolling again, you want to have the two of them back sometime?
Are you okay? Are you okay?
Oh, boy. All right. We are through. Bill said we're through, so we're through. And next week, as I said, my first scheduled guest will be Sam Schmidt. I'm working on a couple others to fill in the hour, but he will be here, I'm told, as of yesterday. So we'll see you next week. I want to thank everybody for being here, for watching, listening. Until next week, good night.